While not the typical song choice for a blues bar, the irony of the song in that particular moment wasn't lost on her. That kind of love wasn't in the cards for her. At least, not anytime soon. Despite the slight pang of sadness, Emery smiled. If it were her bar, she'd hire the man on stage in an instant. Hell, she'd marry him based on his voice alone. The low grittiness, the emotion it conveyed, she believed wholeheartedly he loved the woman he was singing about. He could sing to her every night for the rest of her life, and she'd be okay with it. Emery opened her eyes and took her time memorizing every last detail as she drank him in. He was gorgeous, dripping masculinity. Dirty blonde hair, short on the sides but longer and tousled on top. A curl formed on his forehead that glistened in the stage lights. With a 5 o'clock shadow, collared shirt, and low-slung jeans, he nailed the struggling artist look. And yet, he held a presence she'd never seen in a man before. He commanded the room with his voice. Sitting on a bar stool center stage, he demanded every patron take notice with each subtle move of his body. A slight reconsideration of taking her sister's place in the morning sifted through the dark recesses of her mind. Not that it was a choice she could make. If it was, she'd be taking him back to her hotel room after his set. She cocked her head to the side, her eyes raking over the singer. The royal family would never know if she took him for the night. They didn't say anything about her needing to be a virgin when she showed up to the castle. For the first time, she wanted to be with a man. That man. A shift in tempo pulled her from her thoughts. There was comfort in his voice. A comfort where she forgot for a moment her whole life would change in the morning. That wasn't entirely true. It changed the moment the fucking mark appeared on her wrist 2 days ago. All her dreams flew out the window in one gut-wrenching moment. Her gaze dropped to where her thick-banded watch covered the silver vines circling her wrist, entangling themselves with her destiny. The mark sealed her fate, naming her as a woman of the Culling and ensuring if she ran, she'd be marked for death. The vines tingled as if it knew she stared at it, daring her to defy it by walking out the club door, to leave Chicago and her responsibilities behind. With a huff, Emery tossed back the remainder of her drink and slid from her bar stool. The room whirled as the effects of 3 whiskey gingers flooded her bloodstream. She stared longingly at the door, knowing one step toward it and the vines would sense her motives. It was useless. Her fate solidified. She made her way to the dance floor, turning her back on the door and any hope for escape. Couples danced in the center, but one stood out over the rest. They were slightly past middle-aged, but you'd never guess with the way they looked at one another. They might as well have been teenagers, young and in love. Tears pricked Emery's eyes. That's what love was supposed to look like. While Emery wished someone looked at her like that, she didn't mind being a party of one. It's what she'd always known, and no one was rushing to change that. Not even herself. At that point, she'd be happy if she made it out of the Culling alive. The voice of the sex-on-a-stick singer slowed, and a new song began. A popular, sultry blues number she recognized immediately. She shifted her hips in time with the music, swaying as if she could drift away from the club and the family responsibility she owned. Family. It was a laughable term. Her biological family was dead. The woman who raised her, dead. Uncle Miles was all she had left, and he was every bit the fun uncle, not the adult she could count on. There was Wren, her best friend, her only friend, if she was honest, but Emery had left her in Madrid in the middle of the night when the mark showed up. She didn't even bother to call and assure Wren of her safety after she'd spoken to the Culling liaison and confirmed she was to head to Chicago. The jury was out on if she'd still have a friend if or when she made it out of her adventure alive. The music around her swelled, and tears burned the corner of her eyes. She may never see Miles or Wren again. A Montgomery alive at 24.